So I'm here to announce the unveiling of a very important network. This is our Green Network. This is an effort that's been worked on now for the last few years with a lot of community outreach and engagement. It's been a lot of collaboration. As you all well know, that's one of my important terminologies is that we, in city government, collaborate. So collaboration took place with this effort, both inside and outside of government. So you'll see people standing here who've been a part of this process. We've involved agencies, and there's a whole host of them. And I just want to thank everybody for participating in what will be Baltimore's first Green Network plan. The importance of this is that we want Baltimore not just to be a safe and clean city, but a very green city. And so these individuals have worked to put that plan together. And so we released it actually on March the 5th. We've opened up comments for the public up until April the 30th. So for me, this has been like a call to action. And I'm saying to the community, this is your opportunity to provide us with some feedback. And so tomorrow at Mother Seton Academy on Greenmount Avenue from 6:30 to 8 p.m., this is a public invite. So we're asking the public to come in. They can take a look at it and make comments as we continue to build this out, and more importantly, work with the community and our agencies to make sure that we're doing what is, in our opinion, the best interest of the city. It is about turning vacant lots into places that are usable. You will also see opportunities to continue to grow food in various areas. And so I'm going to turn this over to Tom Stosser, the director of the Department of Planning, who led this effort, and I know that we have some other folks who are here. Okay, but before that, I do that, let me take a moment to introduce our new press secretary. Our new press secretary is Daryl Strange, no stranger, however, to city government. Daryl is the former director of communications for the Baltimore City Department of Social Services, and also a former Baltimore City police officer, and a very proud resident of Baltimore City. Yes, ma'am. So as you all are in contact with James, who's his deputy, this is your press secretary. Okay?
Hello, how are you?
Come back, Daryl. Jane was trying to get her, she was trying to get her picture. Okay. All right, Tom.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. Releasing this plan is a major milestone, and your ongoing support has been absolutely critical to make it happen. And really, as you mentioned, this Green Network vision takes to heart your mandate to city agencies to collaborate not only with each other, but with community partners. The plan, as you can see from this visual, is organized around a series of nodes and corridors, both nature-based and community-based, that span the entire city. We identified these areas through analysis done by our consultant team, which is led by Baltimore-based Biohabitats, and by working with community residents, nonprofits, and other stakeholders. And I'd like to take a moment now to acknowledge those partners who are here today. From the Chesapeake Bay Trust, Jana Davis, its executive director.
You just raise your hand or something.
Blue Water Baltimore, Jen Iosa, executive director. Rails to Trails, Jim Brown, executive director. Neighborhood Design Center, Laura Wheaton. Community partners from the Druid Heights Community Development Corporation, Chandra Jennings and Taiwan Rice. From the American Firefighters Historical Society, President George Collins. City Department of Housing, Deputy Commissioner Wendy Redfern. DPW Director Rudy Chow. Councilman Bullock's representative, Kalima, is here. Recreation and Parks representative, Jennifer Morgan. I hope I haven't missed anybody who may have snuck in. I did. Lisa Schroeder just snuck in from Parks and People. Thank you, Lisa. And not here today, but someone I want to mention is the Able Foundation and Beth Harbor in particular. They provided us some grant money to enhance the outreach. And then I absolutely want to take a moment to thank my staff who made this possible over a 3-year process. Jeff Lanou, Kate Edwards, you can raise your hands. Elena Brave, I don't think she's here. Lisa McNeely, she's not. Stephanie Smith. Bob Pippick, who's now at the Housing Department, but worked hard as a planner on this. And an extra special thank you to Amy Gilder-Busati, our project manager. So besides the many partners involved in the process, I want to take a few moments to highlight some of the key recommendations. Incorporating the Green Network approach into the city's overall community development strategy is key. Like any other city community, residents in our most challenged neighborhoods deserve green spaces that provide for recreation and community gathering. Let's leave no neighborhood behind. Let's layer the available resources we have for things like blight elimination, stormwater management, and capital improvements in a targeted way that meets multiple goals and makes an impact on disadvantaged communities. Let's cultivate the partnerships with nonprofits, community groups, businesses, and institutions to develop greening projects and, very importantly, ensure they are adequately maintained. Engage residents in identifying projects, designing the improvements, and helping with maintenance and stewardship. Preserve our remaining forest patches across the city that provide critical wildlife habitat and environmental services like cooling and pollution reduction. Link the green spaces to each other and to other city assets to create a holistic network that provides safe places to walk, bike, skate, and that increase residents' access to resources. Let's also be proactive about addressing potential gentrification issues where greening takes place. We know that's a big issue in a lot of other cities, and we have a chance to get ahead of that here. Let's incorporate workforce development into all the steps needed for blight elimination and greening. That means deconstruction, rehab, design, project management, construction, and maintenance. Let's measure our progress in terms of the amount of green space created, how well it is maintained, and what results for indicators in the community like property values, crime rates, and heat islands. Let's properly fund greening and maintenance so our green network provides our residents with first-class amenities and can become a model for other cities to follow. This could include developing new fund sources that are needed to get to that level. So to sum up, I'd call this approach greening our way to revitalization. And this is no doubt a big and ambitious plan. Where should we start? That was a question we asked ourselves. Well, the answer was pretty immediately clear. Let's engage those communities where the lack of green spaces overlaps with high concentrations of vacant and abandoned properties. Let's turn those challenges into potential new assets that can start to change the decades-long cycle of disinvestment. Our focus area, community planning charrettes, took place in 4 locations. They're in gold on that map. In East Baltimore, we worked in the neighborhoods of Broadway East and South Clifton Park. Central Baltimore, Druid Heights and Upton. West Baltimore, Harlem Park and Sandtown Winchester. And in Southwest, Carrollton Ridge, Boyd Booth, and Shipley Hill. Our planners worked with residents and stakeholders in each area to identify priority areas for demolition and greening, and to develop pilot projects for implementation that would demonstrate the positive impacts. It's now my pleasure to introduce Mr. George Collins, President of the African American Firefighters Historical Society, to discuss a very special pilot project his group is sponsoring in Carrollton Ridge. Mr. Collins, could you come up?
Good morning, everyone. I'm just happy that the Baltimore Green Network has accepted the project of the Rachel Wilson Memorial Park as one of its major projects. Rachel Wilson was the first woman killed in the line of duty in the fire service, and we just started out wanting to do something to let her family know 10 years later that she wasn't forgotten. and this is what it's grown into. I can tell you on behalf of Ms. Nixon, the president of Boyd Booth, and Ms. Boyd, who never forgot Rachel Wilson from the day that incident happened, that they are excited about this. I can tell you that her son, Cameron, and her daughter, Princess, really love the fact that their mother isn't forgotten. And I want to thank the mayor and Department of Planning for supporting us in this, and also the Neighborhood Design Center, who helped work on this project as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so again, thank you, Mr. Collins. We're very excited about that as one of our pilot projects going forward. So today we're marking the release of the draft, and we're seeking public input and comment before we take it to the Planning Commission for adoption later this summer. There's a number of ways to do that. They're all listed on the back of that executive summary, which was handed out. But most importantly, tomorrow, that meeting at Mother Seton Academy, 6:30 to 8 p.m., 2215 Greenmount Avenue. And there'll be another big open house on April 11th where we'll be discussing the release of the city's overall sustainability plan. And this will be another opportunity to interact about the Green Network Plan as well. So thank you, and turn it over to the mayor.
Any questions of Tom?
Yes. One, where's the Rachel Wilson Park going to be?
Do you know the exact address?
Carrollton Street near Frederick.
Yeah.
Carrollton Street near Frederick Avenue.
Is that the park they call
It's
the
Calverton,
ABC
it's not
Park
Carrollton,
now?
I'm sorry, it's Calverton Road.
Calverton,
yes.
It's not ABC Park. This is a smaller kind of pocket park that will be expanding based on some vacant houses there and implementing the design that the community came up with the Neighborhood Design Center.
And when would that, when is that planning, what's the plan for when that would maybe open?
Well, there's a process now that we need to complete acquisition of some of the properties that are remaining, and that's always at least a 18-month process, which is too long for everybody, but that's
Hopefully you can
what
speed
we're
that
at.
up a bit.
We would hope so.
And is there, on another topic, is there any update on the 35-mile bike and walking and running loop?
Yes, there's, first off, this plan embraces that as a major hub, as a connector, and there's been design plans moving forward for a number of corridors, including 33rd Street and Gwynns Falls, as well as in the Middle Branch area. And I'm sure Jim Brown could maybe speak more specifically to that as the director, but we're thrilled to be supporting those pieces in our plan, and we want to be submitting a application this spring for federal funding to help move those forward.
So the race, just to be, where specifically on Calverton Road?
I think it's
100 South
120,
Cal.
oh, it's 100.
100 South Calverton.
Thank you.
And you can go to our website and see some images as well of all the pilot projects.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that. There's specific budgets and designs
The
and
website,
things.
Baltimore Green Network.
It's on the back.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Any more questions? Okay. All right.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
everyone. Okay, I'll take a few questions.
Mayor, we spoke to a couple of students who were wondering if you would consider, and I don't know the status of this, but the money spent for the buses to send students to DC. These are students who wanted to be put into the schools for fixing, heating.
Okay, let me just be real clear. First of all, this money has been donated, and I know that there are children who are wealthier in the city, and there's some children who can get to DC by themselves, but there are inner city children in our city who can't get there. And so they want to go on the bus. Those who want to go on the bus can get on the bus. Those who don't want to get on the bus don't have to get on the bus. This money has been given specifically for children who need to get to DC and want to get to DC and want to be with others.
Has the Eventbrite page been set up yet? The Eventbrite page for kids to apply for the buses?
Well, I think that's working out with the various recreation centers and so forth. Yeah.
Has all the money been raised?
Monies have been raised, all the monies have been raised privately, yes.
So how much do you have so far?
A little over 100, something like that.
Thank you.
Mayor, what is your opinion on Johns Hopkins creating some police force?
So there are 44 states throughout the country who have private institutions who have their own police force. I think it was Harvard University was the first one to start one in the 1960s. In Baltimore City and throughout the state of Maryland, the whole University of Maryland system has its own private security. Morgan State University has it. Coppin State University has it. University of Baltimore has it. And to the extent that these universities have their own police forces, it allows us to take our folks and focus them on the streets and in the neighborhoods. So I'm supportive.
Mayor, we spoke to Gene Ryan yesterday at FOP. Said he was a little stunned that you brought up the civilians on trial board because you're in a bargaining process, I guess, and he was a little critical of that coming up in the meeting. How do you respond to him, and do you think it has any chance of passing in Annapolis?
Well, what I said in the State of the City address is that that's something that we could settle without legislation. And I think that was my point, is that we could settle this without legislation. Let's come to the table, and we're in a very critical time in our city where we want the community to have faith in the police department, as well as the police department should have faith in the community. And I think that one of the great ways to show that is to allow citizens to sit on the trial boards.
Do you think it'll pass? I mean, I know Bobby's
I don't.
Mary.
Yeah.
I know Andre Davis was down there giving testimony. Did he give you any indication of what he thought, how he thought the committee would handle this? Or?
No, but let me just say, again, this is something that we certainly can settle without legislation.
Madam Mayor, today in the Board of Estimates, there is an audit released about the fire department not reaching its goals for distributing fire and smoke alarms. And whenever there's a fire fatality in the city, the fire department makes that announcement, we'll go to your home, we'll install smoke alarms. But if they're not reaching their goals of installing smoke alarms, what does that say about their response?
Well, let me just say this. If you were to attend the Violence Reduction Initiative, you would know that the fire department goes out 3-4 times a week at least and are installing. Now they're walking. It's not about waiting for a fire to occur. They're doing it on a regular basis. And so what has happened is not only are they doing that on a regular basis, our Office of Employment Development joins them in asking people out there that they're meeting on the streets if they're looking for jobs. So I know they're out there every day. At least they have been since November the 1st that I know of, not waiting for fires to occur, but knocking on doors. And as they said, you know, we have these new smoke detectors now. They have a 10-year life, and so they're not just installing them, they're explaining to people where they should be. And now people are required to put smoke detectors not just in one space in the house. So it's taking a little bit longer. I thought the numbers still were sort of impressive. They set a goal of 19,000, they reached 16,500, and again, I'm sure we'll see those numbers increase with the work that they're currently doing.
Mayor, what is your opinion on Senator Ferguson's proposal yesterday that there be a special commission to look into unanswered questions from the gun trace task force?
Yeah, I found it very interesting because Senator Ferguson called me up yesterday and said I wanted to have a conversation about an amendment or something that he wanted to put on a bill. And I asked Senator Ferguson if he would have a conversation with the police commissioner first, because the police commissioner has already reached out to funding sources and is already setting up an independent body to do that. Some things we don't need legislation for. As you all know, we're already under a federal mandate. We're being monitored by the Justice Department. So I was really a little bit confused because I just had a conversation with him the day before. So my understanding was that he was going to meet with the police commissioner so that he could help him understand what we're already doing.
I guess the follow-up to that is that would you support a state-appointed commission
No.
to investigate the Baltimore Police?
No, we're under a federal mandate, first of all, and I would support an independent body that is not led by the state, an independent body of folks who are aware of these kinds of situations and have the expertise to do so.
Madam Mayor, you've been wearing that necklace, the little one, for several weeks. Is there something?
This one here?
Yeah, the little circular one, is there?
Oh, that's the Circle of Excellence.
Ah,
Yeah, that's the Circle of Excellence for if you've been selected over 3 times as, what is it, 100 great women. Jane, you've been on that, haven't you? 100 great women of the city. After 3 times. I'm going to recommend you this year, next year.
People who like to throw in the middle of JFX.
Not in my opinion. But so once you get there 3 times, then you're inducted into the Circle of Excellence. Okay.
Mayor, has there been any, have you heard anything from the police commissioner about the Detective Suter case in terms of what the disposition of that case is?
So, and I'd invite you to have a conversation with him on that, because we had lunch last week with Ms. Suter, and he wanted to bring her up to date in terms of where he wanted to go with this, and that is to have an independent body to continue this investigation. And he wanted her to know that his objective is to, provide all of the information, whatever that information, and let her know. Because as the one thing that I do know about Ms. Suter is that I was there at the hospital with her. I was there right before they pronounced her husband dead. I was there when she came in, and she was really upset. And the thing that, the conversations that we had were about the truth. And what I know is that Ms. Suter wants to hear the truth, whatever that truth is. And so I believe that that investigation, he wanted to make sure that she was comfortable with the investigation, an outside independent body doing so. And that will.
When you say the truth, it's really interesting because you're saying that maybe what was initially put up by the commissioner that was a person in the neighborhood is not the truth.
I don't know. I don't know. So we want to know, and she wants to know. And
how much closer to the truth are we now?
I have no idea.
which independent company would you guys?
Again, I think that's a conversation that you all should have with the commissioner because he is pursuing that, and I encourage him to do so. Okay? Thank you, everybody.